we are sitting down with Ferrer, newly elected president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for an exclusive chat on 2026 Business Outlook. Find out what the next 12 months mean for Philippine enterprises, from investment trends and economic growth forecasts to the reforms needed.
Dapat bumalik sa Filipino itong budget. Dapat maramdaman nila na meron reform ang ginagawa. We see it in different countries. We see the two sides of the coin when it comes to ease of doing business and ease of operating a business in the country.
We are now open for business.
It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Ferrer, the newly elected president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the country's premier business advocacy organization. Mr. Ferrer is a seasoned business leader with extensive experience in the manufacturing and technology sectors and now heads PCCI at a pivotal moment for the Philippine economy. We'll discuss the business outlook for 2026, emerging opportunities and challenges, and how leadership and reforms can make a difference for enterprises, big and small. Welcome to Open for Business, Perry. How are you?
Thank you for having PCCI here in your show.
I remember I attended the Philippine Business Conference. There were a lot of highlights, especially innovation. But prior to the conference, there was this statement made. PCCI joined about 33 business organizations in this strong appeal to the administration, and that was strongly worded. My question, Perry, is what happened from that statement to now?
Back in the Philippine Business Conference, one of our advocacies there is, this is to help our fellow kababayan, our MSMEs. One of our strong advocates is digitalization. Cuts across the Philippines and provides equality when it comes to market access, when it comes to training, and when it comes to opportunities not only locally but also internationally. The technology is not new. I believe your stations are fully digital, and you can see the benefits. Having a digital landscape, or when our 1.1 million businesses or 1.2 million businesses are connected digitally, a lot can happen within their business. So that we're continuing to push, also assist and helps our academic institutions. It gives educational parity throughout the Philippines. And as you know, the students or our youth, which will have our demographic asset, our youth is the future of the country. So it's time now that we really have educational parity throughout the Philippines, and that could only happen with connectivity.
There was this statement about this systemic corruption, and as the voice of Philippine business, ano na ba ang sentiments ng mga negosyante? From that time that the statement was made, that appeal was made, have you seen developments that impact or that give this kind of scenario where all your demands or requests or appeal to the government is addressed?
What we're seeing now, Cesar, is we believe the government has heard the private sectors or the business sector's request. The government is more open to bring in the private sector as their partner, hopefully in monitoring and also working, especially in the regional councils, that private sector is involved, what projects or what is needed. First and foremost is for the Filipinos. Second is how to increase MSMEs from where they are now and take advantage of the global market. We'll start talking to the government on how we can participate in, the budget. It's I believe 1.6 trillion that was just signed.
Oh, yes. I'm sure you look from that budget, you looked at how much goes to MSMEs. Meron bang ganon? Can you specifically identify which goes to MSME development?
It's under DTI, but it's a fraction of the total budget. It's not, it's percentage points. But one of the highlights is we see the government allocating funds for education. But it doesn't stop there. We want to see how it is spent and where. How to bring in there's a lot there in classrooms, there's a lot on digital classrooms. And this is where we, the private sector, can assist, pointing them to where the industries are going, in the next 3, 5, 10 years, and the academic institutions are open, dito natin dalhin. Let's leapfrog when it comes to the curriculum and get industry-academe partnership more entrenched. There is now, but we want it more closely working together and being able to attract high-value industries here dito sa Pilipinas.
As the new president of PCCI, I like it when you highlight education talaga. Kasi, like, for example, we also visited Taiwan recently. Ang tindi ng manufacturing sector nila doon. And, with your background in the manufacturing industry, when you go to Taiwan, alam naman natin na a lot of Filipinos are working there. And one of the exciting opportunities that I saw and heard from the government executives there was that kung magtatayo sila ng planta dito, pwedeng gamitin maraming Pinoy o kaya pauwiin yung OFWs doon na dito na sila tutulong para sa planta. So, my question there is, given that the strength of the economy is in that sector where you came from, do you see, that sector helping also or improving with the recent challenges in the economy?
In 2025, when the new United States president came into the picture and also imposed a lot of quote-unquote tariffs, it really changed the way trade is being managed now globally. The world has been unpredictable. Yes. And it will continue as it relates to the markets and trade. We're seeing a lot of regionalization and really working on trade deals, bilateral trade deals, on how to strengthen each of the regions. Having said that, we in the ASEAN, which we are hosting this year,
yes,
chairman of ASEAN, ASEAN has a good demographic asset when it comes to we are the manufacturing capital of the world. We are in the semiconductors and manufacturing. As your example in Taiwan, Filipinos are in their factories. I will segue to the education in Taiwan. The education and the industry works almost side by side like partners, because Taiwan manufacturing, especially in high value manufacturing, depends on the graduates.
Oh, okay.
So now in Taiwan, the industries get involved, heavily involved in the educational system, because the success of the industries are the output of the academic institutions. And that is what we want to do here in the Philippines. Not copy, but Philippinize that scenario on how academe and industry works together, bring it to the Philippines. Although Taiwan is a smaller country than the Philippines, and the Philippines is islands archipelagic, we will have more challenges on how to implement that. But it is still a good model on how future business, especially in manufacturing, high level and high technology type future manufacturing, that we can look forward and develop, because we have the demographic asset, the people. We have that demographic sweet spot. I'm not there. I think it's averaging 25. But that is an asset that most countries are envious.
Yeah. Even Japan, di ba?
Absolutely. And we have, I believe, 60, 70 million of those in that sweet spot that countries don't have. So what do we do with that gold mine? And that is the future of the Philippines, is not only develop, is ensure that what we are teaching, what we are training these young Filipinos will be for the next 5, 10 years that will drive the Philippine businesses and economy.
is that going to be somehow seen as your stamp as the new PCCI president? I sense that you want to focus on education, you want to give opportunities for the youth. Is that how you want to frame your PCCI leadership?
As the new president of PCCI, and what we saw in the second half or the last quarter of 2025, one of our priorities is governance. First and foremost, the scandals that we saw and experienced in the last quarter of 2025 tainted the picture of the Philippines. We felt it locally, but more concerning is foreign investments. Governance is one of our priority that we want to resurrect from that scandal bright and ensure foreign investors that, yes, we did have issues in the Q4, whether it's flood control issues, but with that, we will come out, we're going to put reforms in place, reforms that will go cross administration, not only this administration and hopefully in the next administrations to come, and reforms that will permanently, that's what we wish, permanently eliminate these events in 2025, late 2025, will not happen again.
Can you cite at least a couple of reforms na nakikita mo na dapat magawa na to achieve good governance? Kasi nakakaawa din, lalo na sa mga MSMEs ha, kasi di ba mga small businesses, maraming nanonood na MSMEs because that's what Open for Business Show is for. I've seen, micro entrepreneurs, MSMEs, they do it decently, they're very honest, pero nakikita mo ba yung mga reforma na gagawin ay makakatulong talaga para sa MSMEs? Kasi sila yung mga talagang nagbubuwis ng kanilang buhay para somehow maiangat yung kanilang kalagayan.
Definitely, Cesar. We haven't seen the end product or end goal of these reforms, but what is for certain, we in the private sector, kaming mga negosyante, we want to be involved when it comes to monitoring how these trillions of pesos are spent. Not only how it's spent, how it's costed. For example, there is a project A, a bridge, for example. You have a bridge project that's going to be 2 billion. And through the regional development councils, that they all agree that this bridge is necessary for that community or for that area. Now, putting money on the bridge is not enough nowadays because of what we saw. So now what we request to do is, if that bridge is, for example, the project cost is 3 billion pesos, for example, is it really worth 3 billion, or it should be like 800 million? Through technology, AI, and also the business community, we can help in assessing the project cost. It's not that we do not want that bridge made. It is necessary based on the regional council's assessment, but madami pa tayong pwedeng paggamitan ng pera. As you know, the infrastructure of the Philippines, we want the whole Philippines, whether it's digital, software, but also the hard infrastructures, kailangan natin. So, madami tayong pwedeng paggamitan ng pera ng tama.
Having said that, is there a specific opportunity where you can actually intervene? Kasi baka mamaya ito na naman tayo, 'di ba? Parang audit lang 'yan, 'di ba? Nagawa na, nailabas na yung pera, nakurakot na yung pera bago mag-intervene or makita ni PCCI or ng private sector. Meron bang reforms na ginagawa na doon pa lang sa costing? Makita nyo na costing, parang mali na, overpriced na. Are there specific concrete items where PCCI would also have that kind of teeth or power over that?
Yes. Like the cadena bill.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
we
yes.
support that 101%. It's along the lines of transparency. But hopefully we can go a little bit beyond the cadena bill when it comes to, like what we were discussing, is on the costing or on the project cost. And that's where we in the private sector would like to participate when it comes. We don't want in the bidding process, that is government and they have their own policies and procedures. But once the bids are evaluated, that's when the private sector can raise the red flag or put their thumbprint, okay ang cost na yan. It is within the parameters of the market. But where we could come in is, sobra naman ang sinisingil nyo sa semento. Example lang. Or sobra naman ang nilalagay nyo sa contingency fund. It is bigger than the actual project. And that's where we can use technology that can immediately, this will not take weeks. This is immediate. Within 48 hours, we can assess that project is, this is just an opinion. We don't want to say yay or nay. We just want to raise the red flag. Let's review it further because there are some red flags, let's say in the bill of material, in the costing. We don't want to pakailam because that has already gone through a process. Where we want to be involved is, okay, let's review. You know, build the bridge or build the road, but let's review, dapat ganito lang ang cost. We're not stopping them. Dapat ganito lang yung cost. And whatever savings doon sa budget na yun or project, let's
Must
build
be used somewhere.
Let's build 5
more
schools.
important. Okay. Yes.
Let's build 5 schools. Of course, it goes through an approval process, but we should be proud tayo lahat that there are savings na makukuha natin working together. We're not a police force, but working together because madami tayong pwedeng paggamitan ng funds. And that is one of the reforms that we would like to see, because what we believe, and I think Secretary Dizon on the DPWH did not increase any for 2026. Madami siyang savings, which is very good. Where we can assist there is tignan and hopefully more savings. It is not only one agency, by the way. We want to, in certain critical agencies, at the end of the day, is to help our MSMEs in our academic institutions. Dapat bumalik sa Filipino. All over the Philippines, dapat maramdaman nila itong budget. Dapat maramdaman nila na meron reform ang ginagawa. We can always say government reform, but we in the private sector, we should propose, we should advise, baka pwedeng gantong reform. Kasi tayo mga negosyante, kami mga negosyante, nakikita namin, we see it in different countries, how they operate, how efficient or inefficient. We're not saying all countries are efficient, but we see the two sides of the coin when it comes to ease of doing business and ease of operating a business in the countries.
With your leadership now at PCCI, how strong or active would the regional chambers be? Because I am also now a member of the PCCI Quezon City, and I see how involved they are in really crafting projects that help LGUs. So, sa'yo, is that your mandate?
When it comes to the regions, we have 132, I believe 133 local chambers throughout the Philippines. We have that network where I will propose, or we will propose in the Philippine Chamber, is get the private sector. Not necessarily PCCI. I don't think PCCI is the only organization, but now we are in a crisis here in the Philippines to get back our confidence and credibility to investors. Gusto natin is dapat involved kami in permanent seats sa regional development councils. Regional Development Council, I believe, represented by the LGUs. And now, dapat nandun na yung voice natin as private sector and businesses that we go over. Paano natin mapapalago, like here in your area, the economic resiliency. Because globally, everybody is trying to figure, every country or every industry is trying to figure out where will we position our industry or our company, as certain countries are blocking off trade from other countries and buying other countries, and with all this tariff, it's a big puzzle. The business community are now looking, okay, how do we position our industry or our businesses? Which regions will be emerging and we can have bilateral trade agreements. Our presidents in the UAE having signed agreements there that will benefit definitely our agricultural and other sectors. Do we need more of those? Because now it looks like the global trade rules are changing or not being enforced.
Nag-iba yung global dynamics.
Nag-iba. So now, with the targeted countries that we, the Filipinos, and the Philippines, of course, where can we bring our goods and services? Where do we want bilateral relationships now? Before others have, maiwanan tayo.
Kung ikaw tatanungin, Perry, saan? The focus where the trade missions and business investment should flow in and out.
With our demographic asset and also our talent when it comes to creativity and developing, which we want it here in the Philippines, I think, Europe has always been a good partner, but I believe we haven't maximized the potential for Europe. I divide Europe between the Western and Central Europe.
Okay.
Central Europe is emerging as becoming a good trading partner. The Western Europe, as we know it, because of all this tariff and what is happening on the trade, I won't call it trade barriers, the shifting of the market. So Europe is really actively looking, what can we really source here in our region? And we want to be the top of mind for the EU. Well, dito muna kayo, Vietnam. They have a one-country approach in trying to attract their manufacturing. I think overtaken us. They believe technology will bring them out of poverty. So they selectively attract who will come, and they go after it.
Pero tumataas din pati tourism nila. I think we were outpaced tremendously.
Tayo mga negosyante, we're first a tourists become investors. I do it with my other subsidiaries. You tour first, you look at the country, you look at the people, then you invest. I think Vietnam has done better job than the Philippines in attracting. It has a demographic asset also because they're right bordering China. So the supply chain, when there was trade dispute, or I won't call it trade war, dispute between the United States and China, tariff here, tariff there, the war of words, the factories in China, one of the easiest way is just bring it across the border to Vietnam. So the supply chain is still intact.
Strategic din yung geographic location
It's
nila.
not as expensive than going across the pond and looking at, where do we set up? Although the Philippines has benefited in some of those exiting factories, but yes, Vietnam got the lion's share versus the Philippines there.
So ang sinasabi mo, Perry, yung ibang mga bansa, halimbawa the ones in Central Europe or Western Europe, naghahanap na rin sila ng new partners because of shifting or changing of global dynamics. Yun dapat ang makuha nating opportunity.
In Central Europe, you have from the Hungary, Slovakia, and Croatia as emerging countries. They're looking for trade activity. And where the president is in now, in Middle East, I believe beyond the OFWs, which has been supporting the country for decades with the remittances, and we're thankful for that. But beyond the OFWs, I believe there are technology or industry type trade that we can have with the Middle East, like in agriculture. And also some of the technology when it comes to AI or other ICT type industries. They can help. The Philippines as Middle East is one growing and emerging trade partner. Beyond OFWs, that is very important to us. Then we also have even within the ASEAN. Japan has always been a partner to us. But as the population of Japan is aging and decreasing, Japan can see us as their next factory. One of the constraints in Japan now, that's why they are accelerating a lot of this automation and AI, because of their aging or declining population. So what we are advocating to Japan and to the government is, let Philippines be your factory. We can co-develop because we have a lot of brains here in the Philippines when it comes to product design and all that. That can be done in the Philippines. We can do prototype here and we can certainly do manufacturing and others. So we want to be Japan and South Korea's factory because we have a lot of untapped regions and resources. We want to spread the wealth of the Philippines, not just in the current urban areas. We want to develop more from rural to urban, but that needs energy, infrastructure, digitalization, connectivity. babalik ulit tayo doon sa tamang paggagamit ng ating budget.
This country should make the Philippines their factory. Parang ganon. Kasi, di ba, parang may, that could be a good positioning as you verbalized it. But kasi, di ba, dati, when we talk about imports and exports, ang nangyari, ang primary export natin, Filipino talent, di ba? Parang iniba yung view ng diaspora. We somehow shifted our perspective on sending Filipinos, OFWs. Lumabas sila pala yung saving grace natin dahil remittance nila yung #1 contributor sa economy. The question now is, ano ba yung dapat maging perspective ng negosyante pagdating sa mga ganitong global dynamics? At siguro sagutin mo na rin, Perry, ano ang mapapakinabangan ng MSMEs sa ASEAN? Maaring, sige, naririnig natin, we're the chair of ASEAN, pero anong pakinabang ng mga maliliit na negosyante dyan? May mga naririnig tayo, nakikita sa social media. Gastos na naman yan, o kaya papogi na naman yan. But what exactly are the benefits that MSMEs would get from the chairmanship of the Philippines of the ASEAN?
It is an opportunity for the Philippines to showcase its potential. We haven't even scratched the surface of the country's potential. As you mentioned earlier, some countries have accelerated and gone beyond. Good for them. But for us, we haven't even scratched the surface because there is a tremendous amount of potential here in the Philippines because we have bright people, we have good people, and then we have people that can easily be trained and learn. That's why it goes back to the basics about the academic system. We should be able to work with industry. Kung ano ituturo is for the future. But in ASEAN, what is it for MSMEs? May mapapakinabangan ba? Short term, very few. Because what we need to show our ASEAN neighbors and also the others, there are several other countries, not just ASEAN leaders coming here. But we want to show that this is a place for your long-term investments because we are Filipinos. When we work with you, when we have contracts with you, we don't steal your IP. We can develop, not just manufacture, we can develop your product here, not only in Manila or Cebu, Iloilo, but in other places. Madaming potential ang Philippines that we want to really showcase. The Filipinos will sell itself. When you go to the other countries, short of saying they love the Filipinos, but hangang-hanga sila sa atin. Work ethics, once trained, the productivity, it goes beyond what their normal level of productivity for the locals are, but we can really shine. Dalhin natin yan dito sa Philippines. Currently, the Philippines with its industry base cannot absorb all our graduates. So the OFWs will continue. What we want with the OFWs are higher value OFWs, higher value earnings that use analytical or their brain power. But we need to do a lot of homework locally because we want the Filipinos to stay in their country. That is not going to happen in the next 20 years. But we can see it can happen. Of course, we need to start now to develop the Philippines for the Filipinos so they can stay here, not just in Manila. It's nice to develop the other regions in the Philippines. You know, you saw Japan is also made up of islands. Their economic activities from the north, south, from Japan Sea to the Pacific. They're able to spread. When you look at the budget in the last year's scandal, it seems that we have the money.
Oo, parang mayaman pala tayo. Sasabihin nila, ang dami nating pera.
So there should be a cultural shift. There should be a cultural shift in our mindset na, alika, magtulungan na tayo. Not for now, but for my kids and for my apo. Because there is really a potential and the natural character of a Filipino is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. Nasasayang lang natin. The MSMEs is like 1.1, 1.2 million. Ang large companies, konting-konti lang eh. Diba? It's a decimal point in the whole demographics of the businesses. Maiakyat natin tong 99% na to, ginhawa ang Filipino. More spending, bigger budgets. used the right way, bigger budgets, good infrastructure.
That's what we need now. Kasi parang somehow, you give hope and you give specific steps and you really believe in the Filipino talent. So, aside from governance, ano pa yung focus ng PCCI ngayon?
Second one is trade. Definitely, we want to give stability and economic resilience to our country. With all this geopolitical, we always call it, geopolitical happenings globally, we should position Philippines and put our MSMEs and sama na natin yung large companies.
Okay.
We should put our businesses in a position of really relying on the Philippines. And we would like to be part of the future on where all this technology are going globally. We want to be part of that chain dito sa Philippines, whether it is food security, water security, and also technology. We want to be part of that. The Philippine semiconductor electronics industry is the largest exporter in the Philippines, but it's also one of the largest importers of materials. To be able to improve its supply chain, so imbes na bili tayo sa labas, we can help our Filipino entrepreneurs and just build it here or buy it here. But it needs the upscaling and rescaling and technology to be able to support, because semiconductor electronics are very advanced there when it comes to technology.
Being in that business, manufacturing or computer industry and the other related sectors, darating din ba, pero yung panahon na tayo yung magde-develop ng isang equipment, halimbawa tulad nun, like say a laser equipment for health and beauty, lahat inaangkat. Karamihan parang, kasi tested and trusted. Ganyan. So, do you see in the near future or in the long term na Pilipinas naman ang gagawa ng mga ganitong bagay? Darating din ba yung panahon na parang we really develop a specific product entirely coming from the Philippines?
The answer to the question is yes. We can do it. Now, that industry you were talking about and all the other industries should work with the government, whether it's DTI or DOST. This is on the development side. DTI and DOST, if we all agree that we should buy this, develop this here in the Philippines, they have the funds. So why don't we pour in the R&D, the research, and developing that supply chain so the Philippines can buy it, or the Philippine industry can buy it here. For example, DepEd, and then we have a program of digitalizing the classrooms. When you digitalize the classrooms, kailangan ng mga estudyante ng laptop or
iPad.
Yung ganyan, those electronic
Yes.
devices. Bibili natin lahat yun.
Oo. At branded pa kung saan-saan.
And it's millions of pieces na.
Yes.
So let's work with these government institutions that for Filipino students, we will digitalize it. We don't want to start from scratch. That's not the way to approach. But let's work and partner with this, I won't mention name, with these Taiwanese companies, for example. Let's attract them here to the Philippines. Let's bring them here, not as a trading company, but as a manufacturing company, employing Filipino, of course, Filipino workers, and have that technology transferred here in the Philippines. So all the laptops, all the pads for the students and notebooks for the teachers are
Can be
made in the
built
Philippines.
here.
There are several factors there. Attracting a company to come here to the Philippines to build all that, I won't say it's easy, but it's not difficult.
Yeah.
Because we have the market.
Yes, yes.
We do have the market, and we are social capital, social media. So we have that, and our students, only a few percentage have these electronic devices that can be digitally connected.
And not only that, Perry, that is long-term because you continuously upgrade. Diba? Cellphone nga every year. Diba? Forever na yan.
So there is a local market. Now, the challenge is, ito na. So nandito na sila. Gagawa na tayo. Then, ibibid na. I'm just talking out loud.
Yes.
So DepEd will bid it. Okay, we need 3 million laptops, let's say, or pads. Of course, local manufacturing hopefully is prioritized. Because some other people or some other institutions will say, magkano binibid ng Filipino manufacturer niyan? Let's say, example lang, 10,000. O sige, kami 9,000. Di nawala na naman. We want to support, once we bring in and decide local manufacturing, we need to support our local manufacturers in all industries. That is why we want to develop that, because one of our assets, we have 118 million people who are consumer-driven. So sana lahat ng binibili o we patronize locally made products, tatak Pinoy. The Philippines is a big market in itself.
Yeah.
But if we do not have laws or procedures or rules in place, madali itong, wag na yan, babaan ko lang ng konti ito. Of course, in the Tatak Pinoy bill, there are, oh sige, let's give the Filipino manufacturer 20%, whatever, a certain percent plus. Kumaga, if you're 100 pesos, if import is 90, sa Filipino pa rin mapupunta. But it's not enough. Once we establish that this Filipino manufacturer, Filipino company is world-class when it comes to quality, world-class, and its factory is able to produce what the Philippines is needed, supportahan na natin. Other countries are doing it.
Tsaka
You
matindi
cannot
yung
buy.
subsidy nila eh. Oo.
Other countries are protecting locally made
Yeah.
products.
Why can't we? Lahat ngayon ng Pinoy nagiging political analyst. Pero ikaw, Perry, you are a seasoned businessman. You have been with PCCI for many years already. We don't want to be political here, di ba? At yan ang sinasabi nyo naman sa negosyo eh. Kumbaga, let the government do its business, let business be focused on business. Pero in a nutshell, saan ba talaga ang problema? Doon ba sa, kasi pag sinabi mong batas, dami-dami na nating batas. Di ba parang yung ease of doing business lang, meron na. Para pagdating daw sa implementation, doon nagkakaproblema. Saan ba ito? Sa administrasyon, doon sa sinasabi nyo din na transparency. So maraming mechanisms na in place. But baka tayo na yung problema. Di ba? Parang halimbawa, ako mismo, Filipino, baka nasa pagsunod ko dun sa batas. Parang ganun na eh. Kumbaga sometimes, lahat na nagturo na. But, how do you contextualize it in the sense that what is wrong with the Philippines?
I think there is nothing wrong with the Philippines in terms of we just need a shift of reform individually. Let's look at the future, not just now. Because when you look at all the other countries around us, their population's not going to last them. But for us, it will.
Yeah, oo. Many generations.
We don't want to create many generations of corrupted people. We want that reform now in terms of our mindset. We have to really internalize of where we want to bring our family, our community. Then next is yung negosyo natin. How can we be partners? We really want to be partners with our government. I don't want to ask anything from the government. The government is there to create a competitive environment and a fair environment for the country so the country evolves for the people. Doon tayo sana tumulong. Pero naiba na ngayon eh. Some of they become very interested on the budget, for example. They think, meron dapat kaming party dito. Instead of really enhancing the livelihood of their community. The difference about the scandal in Q4, the Filipinos felt it. In the past, corruption is corruption. We cannot sugarcoat it. In the past, it doesn't flow down. Meaning, hindi na apektuhan physically ang Filipino.
Hindi nila naramdaman.
Mahalang yan. Okay
lang.
lang.
Tuloy ang buhay.
Pero ngayon, may namamatay sa flood.
Yes.
Ramdam. Kapitbahay ko yan. And then there was this very scandalous on media, I saw it, bricks and bricks of bills naka-display. Pwede pala yan, I can get more para sa mga iba, or let's stop it. Let's stop this nonsense. This is really vulgar and it's just not right for a person or a group of people to have that. And it's not even theirs. It's the sweat and blood, as you said, when you open the show, the sweat and blood of the MSMEs.
That's right. What is your message to members of PCCI and the business community with the leadership of Perry Ferrer at the PCCI.
For the private sector and the business community, we are here as partners of the government. We should step up and help and assist the government in any way, whether it's through monitoring what is spent in the budget, but also be involved locally and regionally in regional development councils. Let's get ourselves there and show that we are concerned and we would like to help in the development of our country. The Philippines has a lot of potential, and let's show it to the world. This year, in 2026, during ASEAN, ang Filipino, ang Philippines, meron talaga tayong mapupuntahan, and it's worth investing in the Philippines. Thank you very much for your time.
And our buzzword of the week is K-shaped economy. It is the simultaneous growth and decline split across different segments of society. Maraming salamat sa isang oras na pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang usapan ukol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25 TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business development in the Philippines. Sharpen your business acumen, feel the pulse, and set the trend for as long as you are informed and open for business. Ito po si Cesar Vallejos. Marami pong salamat.